Good evening, members of the Fresno City Council. John Zanoni, father, husband, neighbor. I live at 3751 West Spruce. I've lived there for 14 years. The rezoning of this project back in 2014, I do have some questions about how that went about by putting it in the Fresno B, which I think we all know most people don't even get the Fresno B. So I feel that that was somewhat less than transparent. But talking about the playground, there's some public safety impacts here, and I am here to tell the truth about public safety impacts. You have a 4-story apartment building that will look down on Herndon Avenue, that will look 3-story buildings that will look down on a playground that is immediately adjacent to the parking lot at Orchid Park, which is very close to Fur Avenue. And in addition, we'll be able to look down on a schoolyard at Tatarian Elementary School. Is anyone vetting who the people are in these apartments? Do we know who their friends are? Do they know who may come over to these apartments? We have a serious issue in our community, internet crimes against children. We arrest people daily for acts of child endangerment and things of that nature related to pornography and other things. This is an open invite for people to take residence in one of these apartments and have easy access to monitor our children on one of our schoolyards. I believe at the Planning Commission meeting, a letter was presented by Susan Whittrop, the Fresno Unified School District trustee for that area, in which they oppose this apartment complex in its current state. I am not here to oppose apartments. I am just opposing this development in its current state because I don't think it serves the needs of the community. It puts our children at risk. It creates more traffic in the area. And that's a secondary issue where I believe the city of Fresno needs to work on extending Fur Avenue to meet Valentine so we don't see kids walking to the school bus or leaving school on the frontage road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zanoni.
Our sheriff suggested presented this false narrative that apartment dwellers were more likely to be sex offenders and that having apartments near schools and parks would somehow attract sex offenders to live in those parks. So I took it upon myself, as I was hearing those comments, to use Megan's Law's website, where all the registered sex offenders must register under the law. And within 2 miles of the sheriff's home, there are 25 sex offenders, all in single-family homes. In comparison to my neighborhood, there's 297 sex offenders within 2 miles of my personal home. However, across the street in the apartment complex that has 400 units, there are 0 sex offenders. Just want to point out, it is extremely dangerous and irresponsible for a gentleman who wears a badge to somehow attempt to create this narrative that people that live in apartments are more likely to be sex offenders. Additionally, to suggest that apartments don't belong near schools, overlooking schools, or parks, there are several examples within the city of Fresno and Clovis where apartments have been built overlooking schools and parks. There's never been any recorded incident of sex offenders somehow injuring children at our schools or parks because there's an apartment complex. As a matter of fact, maybe it's just the lack of education that the sheriff has in urban development or land use development.
Sir, you're interrupting the meeting. This is your one and only warning.
You've been warned.
Please.
There is no evidence. As a matter of fact, best practices in development has municipalities building multiple-story apartments among single-family homes overlooking parks and schools because it means more eyes in those parks and more eyes on the street, more eyes in parks, more eyes in schools, improve safety for everyone. It is not okay to portray people who live in apartments, whether they be elderly, single, market rate, or affordable, as somehow more likelihood to be sex offenders and prey on children at parks and schools. And for the sheriff to do that on the record signifies to me a significant bias that he should be extremely cautious as he does his job because that is on the record and it will be used in future cases involving this project. Thank you.